Heidi ho, here we go. It's IssacHalf-Wit here with your word of the day, and today's interesting fact is scaphism, which is a form of torture, which I'll read now. It's known as the boats. It was used in a Persian method of torture or of execution to inflict torturous death. It comes from a Greek word which means scooped out. Okay, the naked victim would be firmly fastened within a back-to-back pair of narrow rowboats, or in some variations, some variations, a hollowed out tree trunk. The victim's head, hands, and feet would protrude from this improvised container. The victim would be forced to ingest milk and honey to the point of developing severe diarrhea, and more honey would be rubbed on his body so as to attract insects to the exposed appendages. He would then be left to float on a stagnant pond, or alternately simply exposed to the sun somewhere. The diarrhea would accumulate within the container, attracting more insects, which could eat and breed within the defenseless victims, exposed and increasingly gangrenous flesh. Death, when it eventually occurred, would probably be due to a combination of dehydration, starvation, and septic shock. In other recorded versions, insects did not eat the victim. Biting and stinging insects such as wasps, which were attracted by honey on the body, acted as the torture. Death by scaphism is painfully humiliating and protracted. Historical records suggest that. Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so today's word of the day is exsanguination, which is the process of blood loss to a degree sufficient to cause death. One does not have to lose all of one's blood to cause death. Yeah, that's just strange, because that I feel like that shouldn't be like existent word, like, oh, but the fact that that exists is beyond me, to say the least. I can honestly say that's not the worst thing I've ever heard of. Like, again, back to Exsanguination, which we had just the other day. That was torture with a hot plate pressed against your eye. But this, you just like, you get cuts, like that thousand, there's this thing called thousand cut thing, or thousand cuts of death or something, and you just get like 1,000 tiny cuts all over your body, and you're left to bleed out, just very painfully and whatnot. So yeah, that sounds extraordinarily fun, and unfortunately, I would rather prefer exsanguination than scaphism, because the scaphism sounds like horrible, horrible death. So yeah. And as always, Heidi ho, sad to see you go, but this has been IssacHalf-Wit with your word of the day being exsanguination. Goodbye.